Welcome everyone to the Nintendo Switch Nindies showcase of summer 2018.
There was one a couple of months ago when me, Pedro, and Shiroi tried to commentate on, but the audio went kinda nuts, and honestly, it wasn't really that much.
Yeah, that last city was
Black
more
Nerd,
of
what are you doing here?
Think of me as your friendly neighborhood indie.
He's kinda similar without the beard.
On games you'll be able to play soon.
Nah, I don't think
Yeah,
so too.
nah.
Black Nerd is a bit
Heading to
fatter.
Nintendo Switch. Before we get in too deep, I want to give a shout out to our friends at Nintendo of Europe who just
Nindies,
released a video highlighting some
aka
of the
Indies on the Nintendo Switch.
celebration
Whereas the
of
last video, which isn't really worth
I do
talking
appreciate
about
the
much,
fun.
was just highlights. This is the
Think of
actual
this video as
Nindies
part 2
Direct.
with even more
In some
content
cases,
that I
this
found
led
in
to
the
amazing things like SNK for some reason reviving Windjammers, and now we're making a sequel to it. No one asked for Wind fucking Jammers.
A
Yeah.
world ravaged by its
And-
First of all,
violent past.
Hyperlight Drifter. This one was already confirmed to be coming for a Switch for a while, but basically this is about the release date.
It's
I haven't
definitely
tried
about a
it
big
myself,
news, though.
but I've heard that it's good enough.
And it looks like we've uncovered some
So yeah, one good thing about Nintendo is that they're a pretty good home for, you know, a lot of indies. You know, in the sense like, well, yeah,
A lot of indie games tend to do the best on the Switch.
At least, thank goodness, at least now. Remember, there was the time where Nintendo was strictly not against, against some of them, like Binding of Isaac, because they thought they would have been too mature for the Wii and the Wii U. But thankfully they turned page now.
in September. And get used to seeing the month September for a lot of these release dates, folks.
Yep.
Next,
Next.
up, Tower Fall.
Oh,
Oh,
You know this one already,
recognize this one,
Shiroi?
Shiroi?
yes, I am familiar with this.
Well, go on then, explain.
It's
It's-
just generally an a co-op centric puzzle game.
Yeah, it looks more like an arena fighter, more like. Not necessarily a Smash clone, but it looks more straightforward with L bars and everything.
Clearly not a Smash clone. It doesn't have 8-player, it has 6-player mode. And expansions to be included.
Well, as it stands, there's usually later versions of games that add, especially later versions that come to another console, usually come with all the expansions already included.
The gold standard in local multiplayer. Also, is this music actually
I
in the
don't
game,
know,
or
it
is
would take
this
a
more
lot.
so bonus music?
Yes, Pedro?
I don't know. It would take a lot for it to surpass A Way Out for me.
Well, this
Well,
this
different
game's been
genre.
out for a couple of years, so
Well, it just
Yeah.
said multiplayer, didn't mention genres.
Towerfall is an archery combat game for up to 6
Oh, archery
players.
combat, that's really
Perfect for competitive local play on the Nintendo Switch system. With simple
Well,
controls,
I'll give it
everyone
this.
can
The
jump
Switch
in
is
and
quite
play the
possibly the
fiercest
quintessential
friends
console
and
for
master
local
advanced
multiplayer,
mechanics
to the point where
and
you can
security.
literally play with just a
Towerfall
random
includes all
friend
the
out at
Ascension
college or
and
work.
Yeah.
content and
You
4
see
different
Studio
gameplay
3 for
modes,
free?
which gives
This
you
is
a
actually
variety
what
of
you were failing to understand when you made Halo
Since this game
5.
was created by Matt Makes Games, we're pleased to announce a special characters.
Oh yes,
that are
you may
joining the
wanna
fray.
heard this
Madeline
one.
and her
yes, I'm
reception
aware of this already.
Who are those two
Alright.
from? I feel like I've seen them before.
Celeste.
Celeste.
Ah, Celeste. That's what
Towerfall,
I've
you
heard
can
them from.
duke it out as either character.
I think it's made from the same studio, actually.
Yes, it is. It's their second game.
September 27th,
Alright.
and
Well,
is
kudos to
available
them.
for
And
pre-purchase
September
today.
27th.
I don't know if they're coming as DLC to the other versions of the game.
Oh,
though.
this one is actually really interesting. It's similar to Puyo Puyo, but it has basically a particular gimmick tied to being treasure chest. And you have a grappling hook to arrange them in. You basically do not arrange them while they're falling necessarily, like say in Tetris or Puyo Puyo, but instead you rearrange them constantly as long as they're in the reach of your grappling hook. And there are different combinations that you do. The important thing to do is to align the chest with the key of the corresponding color. That's all that you need.
And thanks to
When it comes to, I'm usually not really big on the whole falling block fighting puzzle genre, but this one actually seems actually interesting.
So this one gets more of a
Usually-
release window this winter.
Zarvat is a charming arcade
Oh yeah,
game
this
about
one
friendship
looks
amongst
generic as hell.
In the game's story mode,
It looks to me something like a first attempt of a studio that wants to do great things but wants to start more humbly.
It does look promising, as you know, one of those isometric 3D platformers in a
But that's the
sense.
thing, it's literally about cubes.
across over a dozen
I mean, granted, there's a story mode, and maybe they'll be able to make them charming. I mean, you know,
I don't
guess
care if you give them names and personality, these are cubes. This is the joke that Portal was making with the companion cube.
I mean, I guess to be fair, we did technically have a story mode in a Pong game once, which gave some bout of character and animations to the rectangles in Pong, so honestly, it wouldn't be the craziest thing I've seen. And let's not forget, Tio, your best friend in Portal is literally a sentient
Market is
cube.
coming to consoles first on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, goody. First to Switch. Breaking news.
Oh yeah, Shiro, this
Oh,
is
boy.
probably the game that you're gonna like. Basically, this is a game about cats.
I get that.
Not just cats.
This is basically if Harvest Moon was all about cats. You farm cats, collect cats, you mine cats, you do everything with cats.
You make a jellyfish box and
You
sell
sell
that
things
for
tied to
cats.
cats.
This is heckin' adorable.
But watch out, there's a secret society of men in black. Probably something to do with an ultra super secret bout of cats. Alright, Abe.
You do sumo wrestling tied to cats.
You ride
sleep.
cats in races.
You sleep with cats. You eat with cats.
You party with cats.
And yes, you even meet Cat God.
You climb a tree to meet Cat God.
You can even pull off a
Yes.
My Neighbor Totoro with cats.
Don't tell my dog this, but late at night, I've been thinking about raising cats.
I'm
racing
telling your
cats,
dog.
the most incriminating of all,
Mena would be
petting
so
cats.
disappointed.
And thanks to Mineko's Nightmare,
Actually, Mena's very much fine with
Nintendo
cats.
Switch,
I
can
wonder
do
I
what-
guess
that and more.
I guess she's one of those
You play
like
as Mineko,
trying to
curious
convince
girl
cat
who
with
just arrived
friendship.
at her new
The whole, that's the thing
Japanese
too, the whole
island
dogs
with
versus
some
cats thing, that's
outfits.
kind of old news at this point. My dog doesn't give a shit about cats at all.
Including 4 regions to explore.
I wonder,
By
so...
what fiction would have you believe cats go after dogs, not the other way around?
I wonder what Valentine would think of this game.
And most importantly, there are cats. Lots
Yes.
of cats.
Yes.
My favorite is a mythical cat named Abe that the locals worship. Well, they believe he's a myth. Mineko's Night Market is open for
myth
business
or
in
Early
real?
2019.
So it's first on the Nintendo Switch, as they said at the
A
beginning.
princess,
Yep.
a golem, a samurai,
Which
knight,
means I'll
and a
eventually
homeless
be able
girl
to get it.
all play a part
Well,
in
hey,
the
Congratulations.
It's probably the best it's coming out in 2019, considering the competition that's coming in later
Yeah.
2018.
Oh yeah, this feels weird because it kind of stops every couple of seconds, and when it comes to platforming, it's not really good to do. So, aside from the the graphic novel extra, this is not convincing me too much.
It's an interesting idea. Essentially, you play as ninjas who can cling to walls and whatnot. It's sort of like a bit of a brawler slash
Again, the
platformer.
problem is how the fact that the game stops every couple of seconds as soon as you do one of those killing blows. It works for a single player experience, but when it comes to multiplayer, when you have like 4 people around, each one doing their own thing, and you're trying to desperately do this kind of platforming, is schizophrenic to say the least.
I forget, did they confirm that that's how it'll go in multiplayer?
Well, that's what they shown.
Well, I mean,
Also,
granted...
Big Dog.
Oh, this is a sequel.
Yeah.
Don't talk to strangers is a rule we learn as children, but after nuclear fallout, some precautions go out the window. In Bullet
You don't
Age,
say.
take on the role of
This
Al, a
looks
mysterious stranger on a
clearly
quest to
made
save
with
New
Flash,
England after
and it
evil
shows,
Ark's mutagen blast changes it forever.
I mean, it's not really bad on its own, but it looks something like you would see on Newgrounds.
Admittedly, work with what you have, and you know, I've seen plenty
No,
of
I
games
know,
on
some of
Flash
these games
do
that were done with kind of like this turn out to be fine, but as you can see, the movements are way too janky for, like, this is clearly one of those products that people do very briefly and then sell for like 10 or 15 bucks on Steam.
I think
I
the
don't know about the
movements
whole-
themselves work well enough with the art style. You were about to say, Pedro?
Hollow Knight was made by two people, and that game.
And well, that's the thing. The way it's made, and the movements done for that game, the cure on the details and everything. It's much. It shows much more quality at work, and how much passion it was put into the project. The one way we shown did not give me that impression. This one is also a bit weird. It's a mix of visual novel and puzzle fighting.
Local 1v1 versus mode, where you can face off in puzzle battles. You can unlock new levels and characters to play as in the story mode. Dropped by the World Next Door in early 2019.
World Next Door.
By Rose City Games and Viz.
Do you have a head for level building? Well, then Levelhead is perfect for you.
Oh boy, this trailer.
Okay.
Oh, it's one of those trailers.
You lied to me. This is not butterscotch.
I guess the developers are butterscotch. Basically, this is in the original Mario Maker.
Please don't try and hit on me. Also, we were in Gaia there for a bit.
And if your buddies are in the building too, then dive into the maker with everyone at once. Hungry for fame and glory? Then place the final block in your level.
Yeah, this looks like an expanded kind of like version of Mario Maker, just done with an original coat of paint.
And I'll admit that character is cute. I didn't mean it like that though.
But Jova, I'm questioning my reason of life with this. I admit, well, it kind of looks fun.
Yeah, looks to be nice and charming, works within its
Yes,
budget.
more hell for people to unleash on the
Hold on to
world.
your hat.
Who else but with
Next game,
Nintendo?
losing it may cost your life.
And no, this
This
is
is
not a hat
basically
in time.
Smash with hats.
A fast-paced,
Yeah, you know, there seem to be quite a few Smash copies coming out lately.
That's the thing, Jova. After Project M became a success and eventually got cease and desisted from Nintendo, everyone wanted to do a Smash clone of some kind.
Makes
Like
sense.
Rollout, Slap City, and stuff like that.
15 characters with unique backstories.
And
Like
also
Birthday,
Beast.
whose birthday is every day. Fat Cat, a money-loving business villain, and my favorite, Washing Machine, who's tired of being
Okay.
filled with Fat
How?
Cat's dirty
You know
loads
what?
of laundry.
No, I'm not gonna question why
King of the
Washing
Hat
Machine
comes
has a
out
hat.
early 2019.
King of the Hat.
Okay.
Watch
I'm
people
no
ship that game
biologist,
with a hat in
but I'm pretty
time.
sure geese are at the top of the
Oh,
food chain.
this one is actually really interesting. Alright, Shiro, you paid.
I know
You know,
this.
you know in
I
videos, geese are usually dicks when they do all kinds of stuff like pick you, steal your shit. Now you
Yep.
can do that in a video game.
Your goal, should you
This is kind of like a Goat Simulator, but honestly a bit more realistic in this case, because ducks and geese do this kind of shit to you all the time.
I think footage of this has been going on around for about a year, I'd say. But yeah, this is fun.
games to add to your wish list? Let's take a sneak peek at some of the other exciting
Much like that
games
cat
coming
game
Alright, the
we brought up
montage,
before, where you just push shit off a table.
So, of course,
Undertale, a couple of things that I'm really pleased to see are Bastion and Transistor being ported to the Switch, because those kind of need made by Supergiant. The first one, Bastion, is actually published by Warner Bros. And actually tried is really good. I haven't tried Transistor yet, but I really want to.
and of
as soon
course,
as I
The
can
Messenger,
get
which
it.
is pretty much Ninja Shovel Knight, coming August 30th.
Ninja Gaiden.
Undertale
There you go,
finally
Undertale
has a release
September
date,
18.
September
Biggest
18th.
meme on the internet.
Jackpot
Jackbox.
Party Pack 5, October 2018.
There you go,
Transistor.
Transistor. Transistor, I think is self-published by Supergiant themselves. but
Dragon
I'm not
Mark
sure.
for Death, made by Inti Creates. Right Fingers.
It doesn't look that impressive, honestly, to me.
Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery.
I think I saw already a bit of this.
All right. That's just a slice of the awesome indie content you can play on Nintendo Switch in the months ahead.
Thanks.
To keep tabs on it all, we've got your back with a
The Nintendo Switch is basically like Steam, but without all the bullshit.
Exactly. It's Steam, but with actual quality control that works.
Oh yeah, now they're basically, thank God, we're actually updating the eShop of the Switch to look a bit more presentable in case of the indies. Now we're adding basically a separate app just dedicated to the indies.
Find channels in the
Thank
news app.
goodness
Can
for
we
that.
can we actually have the layout of the shop be more easy to
Presentable in
navigate
general,
and
yeah.
presentable rather than much like the Wii U one, rather
All of
than
you,
Well, at least in this case it's a step forward, because in the case of indies you don't need to go anymore to the shop, but rather just to have the companion app. So
That's
if
nice,
they do...
but
No, again, a step forward. But anyway, last couple of trailers, in this case by the creator of Faster Than Light, it's kinda like Front Mission, I think. It's a tactical RPG with mechs.
I don't wonder why they saved this like to be the one more thing though.
Yeah, it doesn't look that, you know, it's an okay trailer, but it doesn't look the, oh, one more thing kind of a trailer.
Like, wouldn't it have made more sense to have something like, I don't know, Hyperlight Drifter, which is like the bigger deal, or...
Hyperlight Drifter we knew already. It should have been a proper, like, surprise kind of like thing.
Maybe like the fact that Nefarious
Into the
is
oh,
finally
that's the
coming
thing.
to the Switch
I guess
as
it's
well.
because it's available. It was available the day of the Direct itself. It was like a launch game or like that.
And that's
But
a
I
fine
don't
enough
know.
way to close the Nindies Direct. Overall, it was what it was. A Nintendo Indies Direct, which thankfully
But
did
Joe, there
give...
was no Shantae trailer. Come on.
Yeah, admittedly, okay, I'll admit, when he said the one more thing, that kind of got
Once again, people on the internet overinflating news that they want and then are disappointed by things that we created
That's their own
themselves.
fault. Yeah, that's
I saw it as a possibility, but I knew not to, like, absolutely stake everything on it. Some people, sadly, were not that smart. But, you know what? I mean, hey. Again, though, I will agree with them, though, that them saying one more thing, though, that, I'll admit, my hopes did kind of skyrocket when he said one more thing, because that was, like, way out there, and was exactly as some predicted. But, otherwise, aside from that, honestly, the Nindies Direct, while not the most spectacular thing, and a bit structured weirdly in some things, did do its job well enough. And I'll admit, some of these Nindies actually do look rather interesting. Samurai Gun 2, the Cat game, Nineko, Undertale, I'm glad has a release date. Hyperlight Drifter, I'll finally get a chance to try that out. Yeah, I'll admit there's something for everyone here.
Alright. Well, I enjoy. I would say that basically my the biggest things that I were okay with, like I said, the Super Giant first two games. We made a recent one called Pyre, but I don't know almost anything about it. Like the cat game, obviously the goose game, and even in general, there was only that kind of like Flash kind of like game that didn't really convince me. But otherwise, the others were okay.
And yet
general,
somehow Shovel Knight was not shown at this one, despite the fact that his battle...
Nor Travis Strikes Back. Seriously.
Wait, that's an indie?
Technically, yeah, Suda 51 and Nintendo decided to consider that like that. Don't ask me. Anyway, I guess here you prefer just the cat game.
Well, I'm honestly pretty happy with this Direct in general because, I mean, aside from the cats, which I assumed was the thing that I was supposed to be looking forward to because it was actually in the thumbnail on the YouTube recommendation. I forgot about the Goose Game for a while because we haven't really heard anything about it.
It's about to be released and we still don't have even a title, so...
I'm literally wondering if it's gonna be called Untitled Goose Game.
Could be, I guess. That's for the... Well, if Goat Simulator is literally called Goat Simulator, I don't see how this can change. But whatever.
I mean, like, any game where I just get to be a dick to random humans is a game I enjoy. So...
Great statement.
I mean, do I really need a third copy of Undertale? Probably not. So that's fine for everyone else who doesn't have it yet, somehow.
I'll probably get
But look
it
at it this way, Shiro. At least Toby Fox doesn't have to actually reincorporate the PlayStation trophies in this.
And hey, Shiro,
doesn't have them.
And hey, Shiro, with the Switch version, this means that, you know, getting to do an untainted pacifist run after doing a genocide run should be a lot easier with those different save slots.
Yeah.
Alright.
But no, aside from that, the rest of the games just seem like the kind of random party games like me and Alice will download to just fuck about with for a few hours and then forget about. So Yeah.
All right, Pedro, was there something that interested you?
Not really. I mean, everything else the only, I mean, anything that's actually up my alley, I either already have or already knew about. So
All right then. Well,
just sounded like a generic indie showcase.
Better luck next time, I guess.
Mhm.
All right then.
That is
so
one
see
thing to
for-
note,
oh,
I
sorry.
guess. It's like, well, there were definitely none of the... Okay, relatively speaking, none of the really big name indie companies were there, oddly enough. So, who
Well,
knows?
that's the thing, Jova. Shovel Knight got the premiere of the Battle Arena mode separately, somewhere on like an entire different stream altogether.
That
So I don't know
was
what
weird.
was up with that.
Yeah. And
I mean,
Jeremy's
they could
mode
have
on
spared, like, a
Shantae was
couple,
already
like-
announced anyway.
Yeah. Well, whatever. For what they've shown, it was harmless at the very least.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's it for these Nindies. I guess since it's for the next couple of months, we'll not see one other one until, I guess, January. But in general, stay tuned for eventual next Nintendo Directs.
See you then.
See ya.
So yeah.